Hey there! If you've ever felt completely lost trying to figure out the best diet, you are definitely not alone. It's just this huge universe of conflicting advice. But what if the secret to the perfect diet has nothing to do with what you're eating, but everything to do with when? Let's follow the science on this one and see where it takes us. For decades, this has been the big one, right? The heavyweight championship of nutrition. Low fat versus low carb. We've all heard the arguments, we've probably picked a side, maybe even tried both. But what does the science actually say when you put them head to head? And there you have it. Kind of shocking, isn't it? A massive year-long study out of Stanford basically called this epic food fight a draw. Turns out, when you're talking only about losing weight, the whole debate we've been having for years might have been focused on the completely wrong thing. So, how is that even possible? Let's dive into this huge study because we need to understand what it's really telling us and, more importantly, uncover the much more interesting question that's kind of hidden in the results. Okay, so let's look at the study itself. This thing was robust. A full year with real people comparing a healthy low-fat diet to a healthy low-carb one. But the real key is right here, the primary goal. All they were really measuring was weight loss. And when that's your only yardstick, the results were crystal clear. Neither diet had a real advantage over the other. And this is the bottom line, really. If the number you see on the scale is the one and only thing you care about, then the old rules still holds true. Calories are king. But that just opens up a much bigger and honestly a much more important question. Exactly. What about all the other stuff, like preventing disease, having more energy, just improving your health for the long haul? If we shift our focus from just our weight to our overall wellness, is there another huge factor that we've all been missing? And this, my friends, is where the whole conversation does a complete 180. We're going to move to a totally groundbreaking study, this time with mice, that introduced a radical new variable into the mix. Not what they ate, but when they ate it. Okay, check this out. This one slide basically puts the whole puzzle together for us. You have the Gardner study, which changed up what people ate and found, the weight loss was pretty similar. Then you have the Panda study, which kept the food exactly the same and only changed when the mice were allowed to eat. And the outcome? A night and day difference in their health. Seriously, the results were just staggering. You had two groups of mice eating the exact same high-fat junk food, the exact same number of calories. The mice that could just snack whenever they wanted around the clock, they got really sick, obese, diabetic, fatty liver disease. But the mice that were restricted to an 8-hour window, they stayed perfectly lean and healthy. The timing was literally everything. So, how on earth is that possible? Well, the answer is buried deep in our biology. It's in this ancient system that pretty much governs every single cell in our bodies, our internal clocks. This number is just incredible. 80%. Just let that sink in for a second. The vast majority of your genetic programming is literally designed to turn on and off at specific times of the day. And guess what one of the most powerful ways to set those clocks is? Food. This whole system is called our circadian rhythm. And when we eat on a consistent, predictable schedule, we're actually syncing up our metabolism with our genetic blueprint. We're essentially telling our body, okay, right now is the time to digest and use energy. And then later, okay, now is the time to repair and clean everything up. Think of your body as having two main modes, like a light switch. When you eat, and I mean anything at all with calories, you flip the switch to the fed state. This turns on pathways like MTR, which is all about growth and storing energy. But when you're not eating, you flip the switch over to the fasted state. This fires up processes like autophagy, which is basically your body's cellular cleanup crew. You need both modes for sure, but you've got to be in them at the right times. So this means we actually have the power to control which state our body's in simply by controlling when we eat. So let's get practical. Let's actually build this out into a simple plan you can use. It all really boils down to these 3 simple rules, and they're all grounded in that science we just talked about. Waiting a bit after you wake up and stopping a few hours before bed, that just extends your overnight fast. And then packing all your eating into a consistent 8-hour window gives your body a predictable, daily 16-hour stretch to do all that crucial repair work. So what does this actually look like in real life? Well, it could be as simple as this. You wake up at 7, have some water, maybe some black coffee, and then you have your first meal of the day around noon. Your last bite of food is at 8 p.m., which gives your body a few hours to digest before you go to bed. See, it's not about starvation, it's all about scheduling. And hey, this isn't just some theory that works on mice. Studies on humans have totally confirmed that this 8-hour window is incredibly powerful. People in these studies naturally eat fewer calories without even trying, they lose weight, and they see real improvements in big health markers like blood pressure. Of course, anytime you start a new routine, questions are going to pop up. So let's cover a few pro tips to make your fasting window as smooth and effective as possible. First up, the big one. What can you actually have when you're fasting? Well, the simple answer is pretty much anything without calories. Water is obviously great. Black coffee and unsweetened tea are also totally fine. They won't flip your body out of that beneficial fasted state. Now, let's be real. When you're first starting out, you might feel a little off, a bit shaky, maybe lightheaded, hangry. It's super common as your body adapts. You might think you need sugar, but there is a much, much better fix. And here it is, salt. A tiny pinch of salt in a glass of water can work absolute wonders. It helps stabilize your electrolytes and your blood volume, and it often gets rid of that shaky feeling almost immediately. It's such a simple but incredibly effective trick. Okay, so here's a cool little optimization hack for you. Let's say you've just finished your last meal at 8 p.m. Is there anything you can do to kind of kickstart that transition into the fasted, repair and cleanup state a little bit faster? Yes, there is. A simple, light walk. Just moving your muscles after you eat helps them soak up the glucose from your bloodstream, which speeds up that shift from the fed to the fasted state. It's a fantastic way to really boost the benefits of your schedule. And this brings us to one last really powerful thought. We've seen that when it comes to our health, it's not always about what you do, but when you do it. This simple shift in thinking just opens up a whole new way of looking at things, and it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about.